Okay, the first order of business we're going to have is the oath of office for Mr. Spencer Rockwell. Mr. Rockwell, do you have the oath of office form?
I do.
Would you kindly read through that?
I did.
Now do it aloud.
Okay. I'm like stand up and hold a hand up or something. I, Spencer Rockwell, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Oregon, and the laws thereof, and the policies of the Cascade School District. During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge the responsibilities of the Office of Board of Education School Board Member to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, first order of business. Back here is the guest list. Is there anyone in here who has not signed that guest list? All right, good job, everyone. Thank you. All right, next up is the board recognition and appreciation. Mr. Drill.
Yes, sir. So right behind you and in front of you and all around you, there is board appreciation. There's baskets for everybody. You know, or Mr. Stiegel, some of the other board members not as long. You know, when I think when we first started, it was, hey, thanks, really appreciate it. And it's turned into this, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's something from every school. There's lots of different things going on, and I believe we've got video that we need to play from Cloverdale. And so you direct our attention to both screens. We can go from there.
Help us when make sure things are under control. They help us when things are hard, and they make ideas when we're stuck. Our school boards believe to do every student to try their best. Make sure the school is doing its best and help students. School boards I'm so thankful for our school board as they make a lot of great decisions. They help our students and teachers. Three school boards work as a team with the superintendent trusting and helping each other do and achieving great things. Good school boards take time to learn and grow together to improve the district.
So make sure that before you guys take off, have your baskets. I think there's cupcakes as well. So enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. We're moving on. We're
We're
good.
moving on.
All right, dynamite. Number 3 is approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting, November 25th, 2024.
I'd like to approve the minutes of November 2024.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from November 25th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Drill, prioritize the agenda.
So as you can see in the corner, favorite students are back. I think they have some things they want to share with you. So we're going to have those guys go first and then right.
Standing. All right. Who's up?
So first off, thank you guys for everything that you do. We're really excited to have you on our school board. I am incredibly privileged to introduce the group of students behind me. And thank you guys for, if you guys remember in September, you approved a great trip to show off some skills that they have. And Mr. Brill and the students are going to talk a little bit about their experience at National Convention.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here during this month, because as I talk to other ag professionals and community members in the industry, I always tell them what a great district I work for, and there's not a better place. I know that I'll start with you. You know, the ability to take students like this on a trip that is rare and hard earned, and it just means a lot to me as a professional to be able to do this. I want to start with that with thank you. I say good things about you guys all the time, and it's nice to be able to actually address you in person. But yeah, this is a fantastic group, and I'm gonna let them do most of the talking. Anything that they say about, a lot of U-turns or being lost is completely fabricated. I don't know, you know, we traveled, there was a total of 8 of us, a couple couldn't make it. We traveled with Molly Daly, who was our other chaperone trip, and it was a really great trip. We got to see I think the highlight for me, and maybe you'll hear it later, is we got to actually hear Dr. Temple Green speak as addressing the 33,000 or so that was in the session hall. The event has grown so much that we actually hold it now at Lucas Oil Stadium. Grown every other facility, and so now we're using NFL stadiums for this. So it is a big deal. Culminated in a year in which National Hall of Fame membership hit over a million members for the very first time. So there are tons of opportunities, and we were glad to be there for that one. And I'm gonna let them go ahead and tell you about it. And we're gonna start off with our chapter president, Georgia.
Good evening. My name is Georgia Saw, and I'm your Cascade Associate. I would like to start by saying thank you for making the mission of completing and attending the national anthem. Our team did fantastic. LaShayla Tyler earned bronze, Travis Bishop, Marissa Tyler, and Annika Christensen earned silver, and our dairy handler, Tristan Charbonneau, also earned silver. As a team, they played 20th in the nation. That's a fantastic accomplishment. We would like to go through and share our experiences that we enjoyed most in Indiana. I can go first. I got the opportunity to have Mrs. Gailey be my 4-H advisor or person for a lot of years, and I got to experience this trip with her. So it was absolutely amazing learning all of her hints in different things for life, and I think that was an awesome opportunity. Hi, my name is Dixie Miller. I'm a senior. My favorite convention is probably 1,000. Share.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
And maybe it's back here, you said the team got 20th at the competition?
Yeah.
Out of how many?
Every state is allowed to represent one team.
Okay,
So they're eligible, I think, competing, I think it was 46.
nice, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous, well done.
Hi, I'm Marissa Tyler, and I'm the chapter secretary. And my favorite thing was seeing all my hard work pay off. Dairy cow evaluation was my first CDE I ever did sophomore year. And I've been working hard for 2 whole years, and I'm very happy to see how much I accomplished throughout the years. I learned how to judge dairy cow and like what order to place them. And it's just amazing to see how I got to go to nationals when not many people get that opportunity. Thank you.
My name is Annika Christensen. I'm the vice president of our FFA chapter, 10th grade. And my favorite things about National Convention was seeing Temple Grandin. She's an amazing speaker. I love hearing her talk. And for me, dairy judging wasn't just a competition. It's kind of my whole life. I've lived on a dairy since I was born. It's my family's business. I make all of our money. So it means a lot to me. And it was really cool to get the opportunity to do that with some of my favorite people.
My name is Shayla, and I'm a senior, and one of my favorite things was getting to compete. And I'm really grateful because, like Larissa said, that was my first ever CDE that I ever did in FFA. And it's kind of bittersweet that I'm ending it off with getting to go to national. So I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity that not many people do that. Thank you.
My name is Tristan Charbonneau. I am a sophomore. My favorite part of the national convention was walking in Lucas Oil with a big convention hall and seeing everyone in blue jackets and realizing that FFA is much better than this little town or state that we're in. It's a national. Thank you.
Unless you guys have any questions.
I just want to say what a great job they all do public speaking. That is a tough thing to do at their age, and they did it very well. That's impressive.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I can tell.
And good job, Dean, Mr. Brill.
Yes, very good.
So bring it up. Appreciate it.
Okay, so we're gonna go on down. We're moving on. Mr. Drill, Superintendent's report.
Well, good evening, everybody. That was just the highlight right there. So we're downhill from there. Welcome back to 2025. We are busy, really, really busy. Second weekend, business as usual. Life is moving forward at a quick pace. Everything's going on, I think, really well at the buildings. We had our leadership meeting today. Everybody was much more engaged, a little happier. December, when you have one of those meetings, you're ready for a break. So everybody's back. Not as many people are sick. We're ready to go. Just lots of colds and sick and flu there in the last week of school. So appreciate that. As I mentioned in the report, our enrollment continues to be a little bit down from last year. However, last year's enrollment was really, really high, and then we flatlined. We went straight down the last 3 months. So as that number drops quickly, we're kind of holding this year. So we're now about 20 to 22 kids lighter than we were a year ago this time. So that's hopefully going to balance out. Scott and I pay attention to numbers. We can't manufacture numbers. Obviously, you just can't make a kid pop up and be there. And we also are, I think, even more thoughtful for any kind of transfers. Last Monday, first day back after Christmas break, we started getting phone calls about, can my kid come to your school next year? So we've already started that process. Lisa and Jennifer basically said, send that to us after March, and that's how we sort it from there. Over winter break, and I'm sure Scott, I don't know if you're going to talk a little bit about that, but we did hire our architects and such as kind of a group, management group. It's also back here as well, as we talked about with regard to the bond information. So we have to first go out and get essentially a review of all of our buildings, right? And we ask the state for a grant. The Department of Ed gives us a grant. We hire somebody to go do that. They evaluate all the buildings. It was a group that's basically put together. There, if you look in there, it's the BBL architects, RNC management, and WRK engineers. They bound together to kind of form the group. The reason why we selected them was, one, they were on time, and money-wise, they were right where they were supposed to be. And they wanted to get things done. As a matter of fact, I think we were done with their evaluation. So we hired them just before Christmas break, and now they're done. So that's what we wanted. Not to mention the fact that all three of them we have used them at some point in time over the last 15 to 20 years, particularly around our seismic. So they know our buildings already. So they were really good about going through the process, understanding what's what. And then what we will get back is a report that when we go out and have our community meetings and our meetings with our staff, they can provide the information, right? Say, hey, this is what we found in each one of these buildings. This is what the needs will be. So we're excited that they went through that process. We like the fact that they know us. It wasn't the same group from 5 years ago. This is a different group. And so we're excited in that process to make sure that they are providing us all the right information. The other thing is, by having them do that, we check a box with the state of Oregon, which means if we pass our bond, that we get an additional amount of money as a grant, up to $6 million extra. So by doing this, it checks the box. We're eligible for. So, and then finally, I'd like to say thanks to our front office staff. Lisa and Jennifer basically meet with all of our front office staff, all of our secretarial folks that are essentially our front-facing people when people want to. And it is a mix of happy and joyous and realistic people. If you guys know, right, if you're a smart administrator, you make sure that the secretarial staff, food service staff, and your janitorial staff are happy. And these guys are just happy in the process. I've talked to a couple of them over the year, and I'm like, what do you do when you deal with a really difficult parent couple like, we just kind of go, haha, no, that's not how we do that here. And how about if you regroup yourselves and come back in on another day or at a different time when you're more ready to handle that, or that's not how we talk it here, that's not how we do it. So that rarely happens, but they have all kinds of tools to be able to manage that process. They are the eyes and ears, to take a phrase from an old movie, out. They are eyes and ears of this institution, and that's true. They know what's going on. Just wanted to say thank you publicly. Each and every one of them in every building just does a great job. So, any questions? Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about the group that was out looking at our district and that they're gonna bring information back. Do we have a date on that? When they're gonna come back and?
I think they come back early in February, but I'm looking back to Greg. Do they have a date? Or when they have the report ready?
Yeah, it will be probably done the end of January, and then we will start the bond development, long range planning.
That helped. Well, I didn't answer, but he did.
Are we just getting the report, or are they giving us some sort of, what are we gonna hear from the report?
My understanding is it's a written report.
Yes,
Right.
it's a written report that gives really detailed information on each of the building districts, looking at what, so it helps us prioritize what repairs are gonna need to be made. And having that information with the community that's looking at how we're gonna respond gives the data to be able to discern which things we need to prioritize.
And Greg, now the committee, is there already a committee that's been formed, or is that the next step? After this report comes back, then we're gonna go out and form a
Yes,
committee?
yes, so that's
Okay.
the one I've, been getting names and stuff, and where we are right now is I have more names than RNC is used to doing, so trying to get on his calendar so we can kind of negotiate if we can bump their number up a little bit, because I think the more people that we have involved, we're gonna get better decisions about how the best way forward is to kind of come along. And it gives you more and more people who have ownership and then be able to communicate that with you. And we really need to have one or two board members. So be thinking about that, and
We'll be reaching out.
we'll be
Okay.
reaching out.
We'll be reaching out. Can have 2 of you at a time, but we would like to get an opportunity to maybe have all of you at least attend one, so you see what's going on.
So we're not gonna do the subcommittees like we did last time. We're gonna form one big committee with a lot of those people being our live in district community members. Okay.
Yes, community members and staff, board members. And then, my understanding in listening to this group and currently work with the processes, be with that group to develop kind of, here's the top 2 or top 3 options, and we could do it, and then take that out to some smaller groups to get further feedback from other community members and staff members. But then get to the place where we're into June and we are, you as the board are deciding yes or no, whether we're gonna go for a bond and what that's gonna look like. We will then have all of that data from the first group in February through these other subgroups and what the feedback is going to be able to make a good decision.
That's the plan. So I didn't have to say it, he did, but this is why we've had Greg be in charge.
Yeah.
Finally, the last thing I have is FTE as of 1/9/2025. So Mr. Stiegel asked me about the total number of employees as to the ratio to the number of students. So as of the 9th, we have 346.966 FTE. So I rounded to 347.
Not a problem.
Okay. And then we divide it by the number of students. That means that there is 1 employee for every 7.88 students in our district,
7.88.
which is a little lower than last year.
A little lower than last year.
Not by much, but it's a little lower. We didn't really add, but we have fewer students.
Right, no, that's fair. And just so everybody up here on the board is aware, we asked last year, I asked for this number and I asked Darren to get back to us every year with this number. It'd be nice for us as a board just to keep able to understand what the full-time equivalent to student ratio is. I don't know that it means anything, but I think it'd be wise for us to at least be mindful of that number. So perhaps the next time, Mr. Drillin, maybe even in February, I would love to have a 10-year look back. So we could see every Jan 1 what that full-time equivalent to student ratio was. And then going forward every January to just see the 10-year look back every January. that a fair request?
I see what I can do. It might be a little difficult to figure out how many employees we've had, but we can check.
We can check, yeah. And then, whatever we start at, and then every year as we go forward, we'll be able to backfill that. And in 10 years, at least we'll have it pulled in.
Sure.
I think it'd be really valuable for us to see that number if it, just as it moves and be able to keep track on where we're at in that. But I appreciate you getting me that info. Thank you.
Absolutely. Issue number 2, the lights at
Oh,
Cloverdale,
yeah, do tell.
right? There is a ticket. When we were just talking, there was a ticket with PGE. And we're waiting on them to do their work.
Oh,
So
my.
if they have a ticket in to make the adjustments on the bright lights.
That are shining in your eyes as you drive down the street
Right.
heading north. Thank you for looking into that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Anything else for Mr. Drill? Dynamite. All right, next we've got Director of Food Service Report. That would be. Say your last name for me.
She just got married.
I just got married.
You're.
All right.
You're.
Evening. Well, I'll give you my new one. It's way easier. Hi, good evening. I'm Kendall Harris.
There you go. All right.
Way
Welcome.
easier, right?
Welcome.
I'll take it.
All right. Fair enough.
Good evening. I'm excited to meet you all tonight. I recently started here in August with Cascade, and I've enjoyed all of my time here so far. I am a registered dietitian who comes from Central Washington, a district that was school district in Washington. And I recently moved here, but I've been really enjoying it. In addition to the board report that I have provided to you guys, I just wanted to touch on some of our numbers from in the board report, I mentioned that there is a huge increase in meals that we're serving to students, which is incredible, amazing, and the whole region our program here. And just to show you an example, so in December, compared to the previous December, we served over 266 breakfasts additional across the district per day. And we served about 250 more lunches a day compared to last December. So our numbers are rising. They're continuing to rise every month when we're comparing back to last year, which is very exciting. With that, I just want to thank my staff because we have not increased any employees, but our workforce has increased significantly. And they have taken it on with a champion mindset. They have been amazing with it. They have adjusted, they have adapted, they have worked as a team in each kitchen together. They have adapted to a new boss. They have adapted to new menus this year. But yeah, they have been amazing in this entire transition, and I expect that our numbers for meals will continue to go up. Any questions?
I've got a bunch for you. So do we have anybody with a current outstanding balance now that we have lunches are free for everyone?
Yes.
Does the school currently carry a balance on kids that had outstanding from last year?
Yeah, we still do have negative balances on lunch accounts.
Okay.
But we continue to reach out to try and get.
And what is our long-term plan there? Do we expect to get reimbursed by the families of those kids, or do we expect to have to pay that off internally?
Sure.
Do you have a guess roughly on what our balance is?
I can get that number
Okay.
for you.
Okay,
I think the last year we were under 23.
that was my thought.
Yeah, and it
number.
drops down. So there's 2 ways to do it, right? Number of districts go out, they hire a third party, and it gets them, you can get a little bit of.
To go in
Yeah.
collections?
Go on.
Yeah, I would say no on that. I
Right.
get it.
Right. The other way to do it is to plead, cajole, and ask, and then suggest, and the principals here love this when I show up about this. And I say they can't walk at graduation, or they can't promote, or they can't go to their 5th grade graduation if they don't take care of their lunch account. So the seniors in the high school are the ones we probably catch the best. Not that Pete does it better than others, it's just that that's like, hey, you gotta have this clear, you can't walk. Because walking at graduation is not a legal requirement, it's something we do extra, giving the diploma is legal.
Right.
That's where it gets difficult is that that will continue throughout the student. If it's not paid off until it gets to senior year.
Now, we've also had fundraisers, right, with parents raising money at different levels. They say, hey, we can help you pay that off. And just clear the debt. So we've had a number of them. So we're in a much better place because all meals are free. And we're free actually.
They are all free
Yeah.
for the next 4 years.
Yep, so we're good to go.
Okay, so while the students aren't paying for those meals, we get reimbursed by the
Yes.
state. Is that just a set amount? Does every school get reimbursed the same amount? How does that number, how do we calculate that number?
Yeah,
And
so
is it a
we-
true number for us?
Our by the state partially and by USDA.
Okay.
And so we get a reimbursement X amount of dollars for every breakfast that we serve and every lunch that we serve. So it's not based on school, it's based on how many students went through that line that day, the point of sale that we were able to.
So in your opinion, does the amount we're reimbursed cover the cost to the school to buy those foods, to put them on a tray and to hand them to those child?
Because food cost is so high right now.
Okay, so even though they're free, we're still losing money on every meal that goes out the door.
I would say no. I would say, I know I'm going backwards. I'm so comfortable.
You are. All right.
I would say to the best of our ability and with going out for bids and using the OCNC cooperative that we're a part of, we get a significant lower price. However, is it enough for us to make a significant profit? No. But we're also a break even department, so.
Right.
But
It's close.
It gets close.
Yeah,
Very,
it's very
very
close.
close.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
if
sure.
food cost keeps going up, we're gonna be just as every other district. It's.
Yeah.
I think it's
We'll
more
be holding back one tater tot from every kid.
right? They have to talk about
I don't know if they're nutritious enough themselves.
Exactly. I don't know. Okay, one last thing. So I've sat up here for enough years. I have asked many times when we have meals here as a district, when we have to have a dinner meal here, I've requested many times that we get our food from the cafeteria. That has never happened. I'm going to ask you of the same thing. The next time we have a meeting, I would love for the school to cater us, not anything special, whatever they're having for lunch that day, I would like us to have for dinner. I think it'd be a great experience for those of us up here to experience what we're feeding the students at lunchtime. So that is my request of you.
I think that's a great request. Because I would love to share with you guys the food that we are serving them. And with that, you guys are more than welcome to also join us for lunch anytime.
All right.
Join us for lunch, see what the lunch lines are. Look in line there.
It's changed significantly.
See the vegetables, see the options that are at the junior high and high school campus. It's incredible what the staff is able to do and homemade salads to sandwiches that they make fresh every day.
All right. Well, I look forward to our next meal.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you for that. Financial Director's report. Mr. Pillar.
Yeah. Just to dovetail off of what Kendall had said is, the food is of much significantly higher quality than it used to be. And a lot of my staff members and myself also eat there on the regular, because it's just right across the hallway from us. So if we forget our lunch or something, it's super easy to go there. So if you guys wanted to come and I threw out the invitation to our newest board member, Spencer, to come by and talk finances, or even if you just want to chit chat or something, be happy to take it.
Do they charge you for lunch?
Oh, yes, everybody gets charged. Yes.
Every adult gets charged.
No, you're not on a free lunch.
Nobody's on.
All right. fair.
My board report is in front of you. Just to summarize, we're still in good financial shape. We still need to be cautious. As you remember, maybe from prior board board meetings, we have a number of teachers that are out on leave this year, a higher number than usual. And they are backfilled with traditional, paid traditional teachers. And so we're double dipping on a number of different positions. We're paying two people.
Do you see that as a trend that's going to continue, these teachers being more than average? What'd you say? So many temp teachers?
Well, it is. I think the paid leave act, I think that ordinance implemented, still has some growing pains. We're going to need to kind of massage that and get some control. It's a bit of a surprise to our fiscal office. How many people come in and participate in more than paid leave, and the impact and the extent of that and the length of it. So we obviously want our employees to have a good experience, for instance, if they're having a baby and having the opportunity to bond with that child. That's an important thing. families here with kids. However, you know, having those types of surprises where we have so many people out on leave and so many people actually having to pay twice to get here, that's a bit of a challenge for us. So to answer your question, I'm not sure. We were caught a little bit flat-footed, at least we were in my office, this number of people. So we're in the budget, we've got some, you know, some cushions in there kind of built in. So I think we're in good shape here. Actually, reflects that. But we're really going to have to look at this and the budget years moving. It's hard to predict. I don't know if this year was just an anomaly.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Two or three babies, that's
Right.
what we've never had. Yeah, 2 more today. Oh, geez.
Mr. Drill talked a little bit about the facilities assessment, long-range facilities plan, and those types of things. The long-range facilities plan itself is quite large. It's at least 150 pages. It's a big, extensive document. It's meant to be used over a period of 5 to 7 years moving forward. It also encompasses everything from enrollment trends, population density analysis, those types of things. So it's going to be a good working document for us. It's also the key cornerstone to really our bond plan. The last time, for those of you who were active in the bond last year, we did reference that document quite a bit, but you know, I think it maybe didn't quite encapsulate the future growth that we were looking at, you know, 5 years ago. So I'm encouraged that this group seems to be a little bit more proactive. There's certainly more tied to districts that are kind of rural districts that are near a fairly metropolitan area, those types of things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what those results are and engaging with the community and trying to get a really good plan and get a successful bond. So, the third thing I wanted to mention, and the last thing I wanted to mention, was our audited financials are up at ODE. The audit process has gone really much more smooth than it has been 2 or 3 years. It is marked as a preliminary audit at this point. We still had, as of when I wrote the board report, we had 3 outstanding issues that needed to be addressed. It was fine at ODE's level, but we had 3 issues that we needed to address for the full audit. One of those issues was dealing with an ending fund balance issue, and then a cash discrepancy that happened in the year prior, which was reported. However, one of the challenges that we had in switching auditors is that our old auditors didn't provide our new auditors with any. And so that's been a bit of a frustration for this, because we've had to actually go back and kind of recreate a lot of that work that we did a year ago, actually 2 years ago. For a year. So anyway, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but I can say that working with this audit group has been leaps and bounds. Have them, they're incredibly communicative, and my office and myself really full, clean. I did sit in on a meeting with ODE. We're on a meeting at least once a month, and there's still an issue. The issues that we were facing, we were part of a larger group that were having issues with audit timing, auditors, availability of auditors, quality of the reports, them coming in and speaking to you, all of that stuff. That's been a statewide issue that this wasn't for us. Some of those issues are still going on. According to ODE, there were the same number of audits that were late to ODE last year were late to ODE this year. So there has not been a significant amount. Ours are in the door. We're fine. Nothing's happening. But yeah, that problem is not at this point. Anyway, that's outside of a number of reports. January is reporting month, so we spend a lot of time on the computer and talking to people all over the state. So
Thank you for your new team's diligence in being timely in those filings.
oh, absolutely,
Much appreciated.
Yeah, we work really hard.
It's appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you, Mr. Filler. Director of Education report. It looks like Mr. Dyer. Welcome, Mr. Dyer.
How are we doing tonight?
Excellent.
Guys, thank you so much. And I want to say thank you for everything that you guys do. Truly, when I talk to colleges around the state, they talk about the members, how things might go sideways here and there, and talk about the fantastic people that we have on our board, and what enjoy it is to work with you guys, and just you guys always have the best interests of our kids. Phenomenal work with you, and I appreciate your sanity.
I'm the wild card. I get it.
I think that's a compliment.
But anyway, as we kind of move on, last time, Brett, you asked about Avid and the strategy, so yes, and you shall receive.
Right.
And so today, welcome to class. Today, in Avid, there is something called Wicker Strategies. And in Wicker Strategies, that means writing, inquiry, organization, collaboration. No, writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And those are the things that we're trying to hit. So when we do a strategy in the classroom, we want to integrate one of those Wicker strategies in our lessons. So the one I have for you today is a think, pair, share, which really centers around collaboration. And so I got to stand here by the podium. So sorry. So it's all about collaboration. The elementary actually did a PD session around this with all the elementaries together, and they worked on this strategy. And it may sound simple, but when you're doing it from kindergarten all the way up to fifth grade, or even kindergarten all the way up to high school, it looks different. You know, what you expect out of a kindergartner is going to be different than what you expect out of a senior and everything in between. And so it's big pair share. So basically the first thing what you're going to do is you're going to think, and then you're going to pair with somebody, and you're going to talk and collaborate with one another, and then you're going to share out. Okay. And so what we're going to do, there's 2 prompts here for you. And the first one is please share in a complete sentence, because one of the things with Avid is we want to have academic language, and we want to make sure that our kids are talking in complete sentences, because if they have academic language, that means they can write language and they can communicate academic language. And so we really want to make sure that we're forcing that. So now there's 2 prompts, and so make sure that we are completing in that. And so the first one, what stood out to you in my board report about Avid, or something that was surprising or something new. The next one, you could go, and I'll let you pick. We'll differentiate here a little bit. You can pick what you do. Is please share in a complete sentence any questions or a point of a confusion you have about Avid in my board report. And if you know what, if you might struggle a little bit with a complete sentence, and we're writing things down, I have a couple sentence frames for you guys to use, and you guys can go ahead and use that one. So again, it might sound something like, one thing that stood out to me that I did not know about Avid was, if you fill in the blank. Okay, so I'll give you guys a dire minute. Dire minute can be 5 seconds or 5 minutes, depending on how the field goes. I'm ready.
And we're in groups?
You're
or
in
just
groups.
ourselves?
So right now I'm going to give you, you got to do the thing first. So think about it. Yeah. Oh, you guys thought about it. Good job. Now you guys can pair up and work together on a sentence phrase.
See, here's the problem. There's 5 of us.
Well, we can do this. Right? You guys can work together here. And then what I'll do is you guys can work together, and we'll do 3 right here.
All right.
It'll be fine. I think pair, a group. It'll work that way. And I'll give you guys a quick one. And again, you only have to do 1. You don't have to do 2. It'll be really good. And again, point of confusion or something that stood out to you. And we're going to go through there.
We deserve this.
This is great. This is awesome. Yeah, I do have a timer going. Keep myself up in 5 minutes.
That's our number 1.
I got it right here. Yeah. You guys got about 5 seconds. Coming out now.
Bring it. We want to go first.
All right.
We want to go first.
You want to go first?
Yes.
Okay, we can go first. Okay. Have your attention, please. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. So, Siegel, Stevens, what do you guys got?
Do you want us to do the one thing that stood out for me?
Sure.
One thing that stood out for me that I did not know about Avid was Mr. Dyer struggles to understand what Wicker stands for.
Okay, I like that. Dude, Sal did such a good job in the minutes left. We are gonna do a power whoosh, and that's part of, we wanna make sure kids are excited and that we are welcoming them about relationship. So everybody in the crowd, you guys are gonna go. And you're gonna all whoosh, kind of run together. So we all do that together? Here we go. Go. Whoosh. All right, very good. All right, now this group over here, what we got? Aaron, John, Spencer, what do you got?
Can we do the point of confusion one then?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, but complete
Alright.
sentence wise, right?
One point of confusion about your board report surrounding Avid was, why does seventh grade have 30 students and the rest of the grades have half that? What is it about seventh grade different?
I think a lot about was seventh grade, and I would say, and I don't want to speak for Debbie 100% off on this, but my observation is that's where we're really trying to pull kids in, and we're trying to get them to try that out, and was like, hey, here's a cool one for you to try to go through. A lot of times when they go through that first Avid class together, they learn a lot of things. Maybe they may not need to take it again the next time, and so they learn these skills. We targeted certain kids, they come in, they learn these strategies, they learn these skills, and they're ready to move on. And a lot of the kids, one of the issues that we're having with the Avid class right now, we offer so many awesome electives in the secondary campus, like the CTE programs. You got metals, you got cooking, they got all these really cool things. And when they learn these strategies, they want to move on and they want to do these other things. And so sometimes they move on. And that's it. So Aaron, that was a great question. And we're going to give you a power whoosh. Everybody together. There you go. Ready to go? Whoosh. All right. And that is my presentation. And do you guys have any other questions around my report or anything revolving around curriculum, education?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go.
All right, vertical alignment. You said that, let's see, we're ensuring that the skills and strategies taught in early grades align with building towards college readiness in the upper grades.
Yep.
What about the kids that aren't going to college? Are they left out? Are they wasting their time?
No, well, it's college and career readiness. I don't know if I should put that in my report. But again, what I like to think about it is, I like to give kids options. And so we need to have kids option ready, and or they need to be ready to do what they choose to do. So maybe they want to go career, but you know what? Maybe they get in there, they still have the option to go there.
Right.
They're not hindered by performance or lack of skill.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Dyer? Do we want to give Mr. Dyer a whoop?
Yeah.
Come on, I don't know how to do it. Go ahead, Ruth.
Well, I don't either. Once you start it.
Thank you, Mr. Dyer. All right, assistant principal report. We've got Miss Walisa. Welcome. Come on back.
Everybody has my work report in front of you. I'm just gonna go over a few of the highlights that I'm most excited about. One of them, if you notice at the very top, I talked about some college credit now courses that are offered in our CTE programs. Stephanie Cox in her health sciences program has added 2 new college credit opportunities for students in medical terminology 1 and 2. So students within that program are now able to take college credit through Shemeketa in those programs, which is wonderful. And so on that is also a list of other college credit now opportunities in our CTE programs, from our pre-apprenticeship program and our trade skills through APR 101 with Mr. Iverson to 4 separate college credit now offerings to Mr. Brill, who was here earlier. So lots of different opportunities for students to get that hands-on learning in a CTE environment while also getting some college credit, should that be the avenue that they're pursuing. So lots of excitement there. You notice there's a stronger college theme within this board report. This year, I've kind of focused a little bit on the college early on, and we're going into industry chats and careers in the second half of the year. Last year, I tried to mix all of it all at once, and to be honest, it got a little convoluted all up in my scheduling. And so we really, college first with our college fair kickoff in October. We had 26 trade schools, military branches, and colleges that were here on campus. And all juniors and seniors had the opportunity to attend that. From the Opportunity Center, the high school, and we partnered with State and High School as well, who came over for that. So lots of great things and college speakers. This trimester, moving into third trimester, is our career fair in April. And last year, if you guys remember, we hosted our first regional career fair. So the Willamette ESD and other schools came to our school for the first time. And we had 65 separate industries that were present on campus. So in my board report, we had 6 separate schools last year. This year, we've been asked by 9 separate schools to come and attend this event. So it's growing and it's really exciting. And I think that's probably about the capacity at this point that we feel pretty comfortable with, and we'll see how this year goes. And so 65 industries and 9 separate schools will be great. It'll be hosted in April in gym and the commons area, as well as the parking lot on the other side of the neighborhood. So you'll notice a lot of things along those lines. Last year we had first responders and a lot of different options. So we see a lot of things happening there. My next board report's not till May, so this is a good heads up. You'll be noticing some stuff like that on campus. And so there's just a lot of really exciting things that are happening, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
So on this career day, what are the times that it's held? Does every student have the opportunity to attend?
So we open it up to all of our juniors and seniors, and it goes from 9 o'clock till 2. And then we have a schedule. I'm actually meeting with the Willamette ESD tomorrow and Mr. Patachik, our college and career readiness coordinator. And we have a calendar and an event for the day where there's rotations between schools to make sure that each school gets the same amount of time. There's rotation basis where, say, Staten High School is here at the same time as Dallas High School is coming. And so we have them inside the gym while Staten and Jefferson are outside. And after so much time, they rotate, give everybody adequate time within each location. And we did a partner survey after last year with some of the industry partners who came and really took that feedback about timing and how many schools. And their feedback was we could take more kids at once. This was great. We want to see bigger groups of students. We felt like we could have more individuals and really wanted to give them more time as opposed to less students.
So do we have, when our students go there to this event, are they encouraged on any level to frankly to go and talk to folks at their different booths or their different stations? Or is it just kind of a, hey, wander around, if you see something you like, talk to them, but if you don't, just keep on walking by?
So we have passports that they could fill out and they go through, and some teachers are really big about focusing on, hey, if you're interested in it, Mr. Patachik meets with juniors and seniors to talk about the options. We post the list a week or 2 before of all of the industries that will be there with table numbers. We have a map so individuals can find who they might be interested in. So if we have a student, say Mr. Patachik knows a senior who's very interested in going into aviation mechanics or anything along those lines. We have a student who's very interested in going into being an elevator technician. So never knew that was a thing, by the way. Like, it's a thing that somebody fixes elevators, but when a student's like, I'm going to be an elevator technician, how do I do that? I go, that's a fantastic question. I know that's a thing, but I didn't know the thing. There's a whole union of elevator technicians who are now coming to our career fair. Mr. Patachik heard that and wanted to find a way to get a student, somebody that they could talk to. So we have an elevator technician and their union is fully represented coming to this career fair. Make sure that all of those students can see that as an opportunity, because if I didn't know that that was a thing, there's a lot of kids that don't know that. So we set up maps, we have teachers that will advertise it. Mr. Patachik follows up. Greg does a wonderful job posting information on social media so that the parents are aware.
So, and I asked that question because I go to a lot of trade shows, and frankly, there's some where the FFA kids show up, and the kids whose teachers make them walk around and ask questions, frankly, engage much better than the kids that are just blowing through because it's a free day.
One of the things that's been really great, and Brian talked about Avid strategies. We partner a lot with our Avid students, and this year I'm really excited because our adult transition program is going to come out, and we have students that invest and they greet individuals and they help them sign in, and they help them find where their tables are, help them get set up. And so I'm really excited over the last 3 years as this has grown. We started with 3 students who helped, and now I have a adult transition program, an entire Avid class that will come in. They help set up the tables. They help introduce themselves to. It's really a great way to work on skills that you may not always get to do. You may not always get to go up and say, "Hi, I'm so and so. What's your name? Let's get you signed in and show you your table." So it increases the amount of buy-in.
Good, yeah. Because forcing the kids to have to talk to those folks is a good thing. You're doing the students a favor.
Yeah, it pushes them out of their comfort zone in a way that really is an educational experience.
Wonderful. Excellent.
You said something about college speakers. I know years and years and years ago, they would come in during the kids' lunchtime, and let's say it was a speaker from Oregon State, and the kids that might be interested in that would go listen to that speaker. So how do you do that differently now?
We haven't done some during lunch. We have done that. We had a lot of our Avid classes that had requested speakers, and we told them right before lunch with questions and answers during, so students who weren't there for the presentation could come in and still have those questions
Is
answered.
that during their class?
During their Avid class.
Oh, okay.
And Mr. Martin, our sophomore counselor, has been wonderful to work with because he has been advertising a lot of these college speakers and helping Mr. Potachik in recruitment efforts.
Okay.
So there's a sign-up sheet in the counseling office, there's sign-up sheets in the hallway, there's some in the library, and there's a lot of word of mouth going around. So Mr. Brill, for example, hosted a virtual presentation by University of South Dakota, which didn't make it onto my list because it just happened. And it was really exciting because he was like, hey, I know a few of my kids or my students that aren't in that class that period. So we worked with their teacher to have them approved to be dismissed for a while to come and hear that speaker. So it was a lot of collaboration, and it's not, I can't take credit for all of it. It takes a whole village of us to be able to do that, but working together and saying, hey, this is something this kid really wants to do.
Anything else? Wonderful. Thank you so much.
On the upcoming events, next month, there is a Drive Your Tractor to School Day on February 19th. So just as a heads up for everybody, when you're thinking about your commute, it is a late start, so it should not impact commutes as much as others. And so just as a heads
Okay,
up.
what's the date on that?
It's on the
February
bottom of the
19th.
report. February 19th.
February 19th. No, I got it.
So I just want to make sure you all are aware of that.
Couple days after our board meeting.
Yes. So.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Next is 6F Elementary Principals Report, and it looks like we're doing Bradley.
Miss Bradley is not here this evening. She had something come up late last week and ended up being happy to miss tonight. She wanted me to let you know that her report's there. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to her via email, and she will be back to see you in a few minutes.
Dynamite.
Okay.
Okay. Then going on, we've got the Turner Elementary Principals Report. Miss Iverson, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you contribute to our school district. You know, truly working at Cascade, it's more than a job. It is a family. And that family atmosphere is real, it's authentic. And the fact that we have people calling already to come to our school district says a lot. And I think one of the major components of that is just the authentic opportunities we give kids. From kids in the board report formulating the Bill of Rights based on some things that were happening in our school, and the kids coming up with their own Bill of Rights to ensure that they feel protected and safe at school. So what's happening in our CP programs? You asked about college and career. I mean, the pre-apprenticeship program, I mean, from K through 12, we're taking care of kids in a quality way and treating them as if they are our own. So the board report is in front of you. Do you have any questions for me?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
You talked in your report about everything literacy. What's different about everything literacy versus what you were doing before you adopted that?
Right. What is different in more than half our staff, and after the next 2 years, 90% of our staff and all of K2 will be trained in the latest research on how to teach literacy most effectively. And that's a 2-year course called Letters. Our staff signed up the minute it was offered. We also this year partnered with Oregon RTI. So they're working alongside us to really dive deep into our data and determine the best strategies. For many years, we got away from the best strategies in literacy. You know, why things are the way they are, you follow the money. And there were some packaged curriculums that were sold that weren't most effective. And we're getting back to the basics. We're getting back to the good, solid phonics instruction, which is what kids need, most kids need to learn to read well. And that's what we're going back to.
Okay. Do you think we'll be able to put our finger on improvements, growth using this strategy versus
Yeah.
before we implemented it?
I'm so excited because, you know, there's lies, dang lies, and statistics, and we can twist anything. But we're starting our DIBELS and our Acadians mid-year testing this next week. And we are going to be examining that data very carefully and seeing exactly what's working. And that's one of the reasons we partnered with Oregon RTI. The expert in literacy in the state of Oregon is coming to our professional development on January 27th. And she's going to join us in delving into those statistics and seeing exactly what's working. Our staff has had numerous trainings, and they've gone to every training available around literacy.
So when you say us, are you talking Turner only, or are you talking all the elementary?
all the elementaries, we started with Oregon RTI. And we're all of the schools are diving deep into literacy and the letters training and bringing forth the best strategies.
So all of the three elementaries are doing the everything literacy? Or are you, and I'm just asking you, this is your report, but I'm just curious, is that something we're seeing at all three of them, or is it just exclusively at Turner right now?
We are seeing an emphasis on literacy in all of the schools.
Okay.
But we partnered with Oregon RTI as a pilot. And I believe that the feedback that we're providing in schools that we will share what we're learning.
Okay.
And move forward from there. It was a good pilot with our size.
Right.
For us to jump in and partner alongside them.
Okay. Fair. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Any other questions?
I apologize. There's other staffing implications, for like the reading resource. I don't know all the right terminology, but the experts that are in the building that are supporting teachers in their teaching math and readings on their staffing implications. Well, in other words, as the focus changes or the programs change, do the in-house experts, they just change right along with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Our literacy expert, Claire Benz, has been at the forefront of the best strategies. And our IAs are highly trained. In fact, I think they're trained more effectively than some teachers in the state that haven't adopted the reading strategies that we know work the best. But the staffing implications are that if we do a better job effectively teaching literacy, we'll need less of our IAs in the RTI room doing those interventions, and that will free them up to spend more time in the classroom. And it's wonderful to we have a lot of community volunteers that are coming in weekly reading with kids. Any other questions? Okay. I'm excited to share the data with you though, the next board report, when we have it all in and we can really examine exactly what the challenges are and what we're doing well. Because the state and national statistics are grim, as we know, and it's not good enough.
Good. All right. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Elementary assistant principal's report is Miss Cromwell or Miss Federico or Miss Mitchell. Okay. Say, I'm putting all the options on the table.
Okay, well, Lisa shared. Go over our enrollment, which in the last 6 weeks is 10 students. And then our attendance is looking a little bit better than last year. As you can see in the report, that last year at this time, we were at 92%, and we're now at 94%. But the best news is our chronic absenteeism is a lot better than where it was last year at this time. So last year, we were at 21% of chronic absentee. This year, we're at 16%. So when you go back and look at chronic absenteeism, it's any student that is below 90% attendance. It can be 89.9 and they're still counted as chronically absent. Whether the absences are excused or unexcused, it doesn't matter. Ann Yunker and I, when we go through our attendance to see what's going on with each kid that is chronically absent, the majority of our students, it's hunting trips, vacations, during times when it's cheaper to travel, and sickness this year has been the third largest thing. So as far as kids just not coming to school because they don't want to get out of bed, that's not necessarily true anymore, which is a change.
It does seem like 67 students being chronically absent is a lot of kids. And not to take away from the fact that it's less than it was last year, that just is a big number.
It is a big number. And I think even more than the chronic absent is the tardiness issue. Our teachers start instruction at 10 minutes to 8. At 7:50, instruction starts in the classroom, whether that's one meeting or students are going to RTI interventions or PE, whatever it may be. It's all important. Even students that come in 15 minutes late are missing that more time to interact with students before just jumping right in.
And are the tardy kids chronically the same kids? And is there a reason or just how they roll?
Well, so far it's how they roll, and at the elementary level, usually, not always, it's a parent issue.
Yeah, it's not the kids, they're the ones who dropped off. Right. And so is there a way to combat that or to address that?
First thing we like to do is call and talk to the parent directly. Say, what can we do to help you? Is there something that you need, even if it's something as simple as an alarm clock or a share line with coffee or something, right? Or is it your student that's struggling to get out of bed to come to school? Is there something we need to know? And oftentimes the parent reports that it's them. Sign them up for the bus, but they don't get up in time to get their kids on the bus.
I know there are the lies, darn lies, and then there's the statistics. I know we can make it all look any way we want, but are we starting school at the right time for kids?
Well, I'm a morning person, so that's a really good question.
I know.
7:50. I mean, our doors open at 7:30. Our kids come in for breakfast at 7:30. They can go to classrooms at 7:30. That's early.
That's 7:50 is very early.
Kids are arriving at school even before that. We're having to send out reminders to parents, please don't drop your students off. There's not direct supervision until 7:30.
I know there's 1,000 reasons to want every kid at school every day. I get that. And I can visualize a correlation between having a life that is disorganized and chaotic and not coming to school and having performance issues. If my family's buying airline tickets during cheap travel, that's going to impact the kid. I get that. Is there a correlation in your world? Is there a correlation between Disneyland travel and student performance? In other words, are those kids also the low performers? Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Discussion and communication, 7A personnel, 7A1 new staff recommendation. Mr. Drill.
Yep, and before you have two new staff recommendations mid-year, right? In the middle of, we had somebody ready to go and then they switched and got a different job, so we had to hire somebody else. Again, they're filling in positions for the rest of the year. That's the process. And then in 7B, no, I guess that's 7A personnel. Yeah.
All right. Any questions on that?
And both of them are filling in.
All right, moving on to 7B is board policy updates, first reading. Mr. Drill.
Yep, so we're wrapping up the last part of the board policy updates for this last legislative session, and then it takes time for the OSBA attorneys to review, make sure that we get the policies right. So that's the first reading of this group of policies. Again, almost all of them were changes in ORS or OAR. They weren't significant. I point those out if they were. This has completely changed. And as Lisa just pointed to me on my finger, one of them actually did change. So I don't know if we marked it in there on theirs, but.
In the file.
Yep, in the file.
I haven't, you can see it, because it just came through this morning, the notice for that one being held.
Yep, so JBN and GBN, which is and or JBA and JBA/GBN, it can go either way. They're placed in both spots around sexual harassment in Title IX. So there's a judge in Kentucky that held up the Title IX suggestion that the Biden administration provided earlier in the year that the state of Oregon mostly follows. A federal judge in Kentucky decided to hold that, and the attorneys in Oregon at OSBA said we need to put that on hold until we find out what that looks like. So other than that, everything should be able to move.
So, Mr. Drill, why do we have, and I don't know if it's on the first or second here, but we have a public charter school. Why do we have public charter school?
So you have a policy built in case there ever is a need for a group of people to come and say, we'd like to put a public charter school in your school district. That way you already have a policy in place.
Okay.
To do that. That's why it exists.
So it's just a fallback just in case we need it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
It's
then.
easier than doing that than having a group sitting here and saying, we don't have any policies, so we want to help create policy.
Right.
Policy already exists.
Right. And the other thing, and I just want to comment, I don't think we have any problems, but I think this is interesting for us to know. There's board member standards of conduct in here also.
Yep.
And number 2, I thought was pretty, and I'm just going to read it. Understand that the board sets the standards for the district through board policy. Board members do not manage the district on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Just make sure we're all clear on that.
No. You totally understand it. I appreciate it, all of you. You got the push on that. This is a comment that you heard earlier from a couple of administrators that say, thank you for your sanity, thank you for being in your lane, and thank you for being in my lane. This is why it works so well, right? Always can be better, we can always improve it, but this conversation has been missed out on a number of school districts across the state that unfortunately you see in the paper.
Yeah.
Or on the news.
It's number 2 for crying out loud.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right, anything on 7B, anybody? No, all right, moving on. That's first and second. Do we need to address second reading?
The second reading was the one we did before. Those will go into effect, assuming anybody has questions or concerns about those.
Any questions on 7C, gang? Nope. All right, information items, number 8, 8A, staff retirement from PERS.
So again, like we said, the state of Oregon has, through the legislature, allows people to retire and work back. As long as you guys are okay with that. We continue to feel very blessed that we have veteran teachers, veteran staff that are retired and still work back, right? So the reality is that until 2034, because of shrinking group of people we're trying to hire into these positions, I think it's very wise we go ahead and do that. We hire them back on a yearly basis. And I think in all 3 of these situations, they are planning on retiring at the end of the year, the school year. They're just starting their PERS process in January.
Okay. Any questions on 8A? No. All right, thank you. 8B, staff resignation.
You have resignations below you. Again, we had a couple of people that started. They check and make sure. Yeah, we had 2 people, one person that started for us and then went to a different district, got a better offer, essentially. That person was coming to here to teach, but that person also had an administrative license, so they got an administrative job for the rest of the year. That's fine. The other 2, I believe, are leaving because they want to stay home with the family. So they had a baby and decided to stay home. So in hopes of them coming back, maybe at some later time. Any questions there?
Okay, any questions on 8B? Nope, all right. So we're gonna get into public comment. Public comment form, nope, that's not the part I'm looking for. Where's that one where we have to read the, no, I kind of forgot what that speech is too. That's it.
It's basically opens it. Open it to the person that signed up and we have one person that
Right.
signed up.
Yeah, and we've got 3 minutes and normally there's a little printout. I apologize, and I don't
Sorry.
remember it. It says, we have to be mindful and we have to set an example for how we treat each other in this. So we're going to be very courteous during this portion of our meeting, which I don't believe we'll have a problem. So we've got 1 public comment, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
And I believe it's
Mr. West.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Sorry, my timing couldn't be worse, didn't realize it was the word appreciation month, so I apologize on that. Good evening. To introduce myself, my name is Owen West. I work in the maintenance department, school district here. I also have a son that goes to Cloverdale Elementary. Try to come to these meetings as often as I can. I usually just sitting up front and listening. For something I want to say, I do appreciate all of you. Appreciate what you do for the district, and know how much you all care about staff, students here. The topic I brought today was due to the OSBA from the last meeting, so that would be what, the second meeting?
Late November.
Late November, sorry.
Hey, and Olin, I don't know that I announced it, but we typically give 3 minutes. Just be aware of time.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, So now, where was I? Oh, now I've been asked, I was in the meeting and been asked, like, what do we get out of being a member of the SBA? And no one can really give an answer. I can't say whether it's worth it or not. But the one thing I do know that we get out of it in the last meeting is we have a voice in their resolution. There were 3 resolutions placed before you in the last meeting. I'm really curious to see how you're going to vote because I could see one, we're gonna probably be a little controversial. I was concerned when the time came to vote, and instead of voicing your opinions for or against them, you opted not to engage at all. I was relieved that the scouts that were here earlier decided to lead because then it, I wouldn't really see our leaders not really leading by voicing an opinion. I don't know the reason you decided not to. I could see from some of your facial expressions that some of you did have some opinions about it. The only thing I can say is what I observed, that our board members didn't really want to talk about an uncomfortable topic. I want to encourage you that next time something like this happens, that you will voice your opinions. And I am happy that, you stood up and wouldn't let one of the resolutions go by without a vote. So thank you for that. Just to clarify, like I said, I do appreciate all that you guys do. And I'm really happy with the board here. It was just an area I felt needed to be addressed. It was, something that I could see being a slippery slope, starting with, an organization that we don't really get anything out of. It doesn't really matter, it seems like, and maybe one day a policy that does actually. So thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments or thoughts we to address? No? Yes.
I wish the scouts could have been here tonight to watch you display courage. Thank you for doing your job.
All right, then moving on, we've got resolutions. Okay. Resolution 10A, resolution regarding new hire recommendations.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the new hire recommendations of Curtis Clark, temporary long-term substitute, and Robin Van Ockemal, temporary school counselor, as recommended by the administration.
Second.
10A, resolution regarding new hire recommendations has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Can we pass this from John on to Aaron? 10B, resolution regarding board policies, first reading. It's a little long, buddy, sorry. Whoosh.
I don't have to read all of that, do I?
You can do whatever you want.
Read the top. Listen to the Cascade. Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the first reading of the policies outlined in the April 2024 OSBA proposed board policy update as listed below.
A second.
Can be resolution regarding board policies first reading has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 10C, resolution regarding board policy second reading and adoption.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the second reading and adoption of the policies outlined in the August 2023 OSBA proposed board policy update as listed below.
Second.
10C, resolution regarding board policy second reading and adoption has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. End of resolutions. Number 11, future agenda items. Mr. Drill.
Yep, so next month is that time of year where we do the evaluation of me. So we have, over the past number of years, you have asked me to write self-evaluation. And then we go through the first half of what the Oregon School Boards Association has put together as a superintendent evaluation. It traditionally is called a 360 evaluation, but many, many years ago, and almost every superintendent in the state of Oregon does what they call the 180, not the 360, because the last half of it is actually being rewritten and doing some revision. So we have stuck with the 180 part, which is my evaluation of myself. I provide that to you, you go through that process, and then you get together, usually the board chair puts something together and gets that back to me in March. So my assumption is you would like to see the same thing for next month. That means we will meet a little earlier and get that set up in the exec session.
Good.
Okay. And the only other thing I have is, if you would indulge me, I do have a comment about OSBA and what Mr. Olin brought up, because I think it's important. Oregon School Boards Association is at the moment struggling. They're struggling with their leadership. They're working on trying to replace some people. It's an internal mess. I'm not going to lie. They've had some issues, and they're trying to get that fixed right now. We did have difficulty. I had difficulty telling you exactly what we pay for, what we get. What I was thinking about when we were talking is that Oregon School Boards does provide lots of legal support now. It is, hundreds of policies, as you guys well know. Everything is well evaluated, and we know where we can legally stand to make sure things happen. The difficulty becomes when we end up in a place where there's something essentially political or social, and they provide some information. Oregon School Boards Association has members like you, right, from every area. We talked about that last time, that they were looking for somebody in our region to be one of their members. All of you respectfully declined, like that's additional work in the process, and everybody has busy lives. But they get those groups of people and they get together in what they call an executive committee. Over time, that executive committee added members, right? So they had essentially a voting group of executives that would represent all other school board members across the state. At one point, the metro area said, metro area loans represents 54% of the students in the entire state of Oregon. We should have an extra vote. That followed quickly the next year by Oregon School Boards Association having a rural communities vote. And they added communities of color vote. And then they went on until we got to the LGBTQ group, which is where we were at 2 months ago. That ran headlong into a conversation that I have had with each and every one of you about, particularly after COVID, that after a very long and frustrating board meeting about 4 years ago, an August meeting, that essentially put us in a place where I spent time saying to you, let's see if we can keep politics from the boardroom and from our schools. And we've run on that. I've said it out loud. This is what I'm talking about tonight. I have tried to say over and over that the farther away I can get from politics, the more I can allow these folks in this room to do their job and not have to think about what that looks like. And you guys have done a masterful job of saying, okay, for the most part, we hear what you're saying. And you've let me be in my lane and let me be. A situation like this last time, where you ended up having to be in a place where you have to vote, I totally understand. While Olin and I might not agree about how you came out with it, because an abstention, which is what you did in that situation, is actually a choice of yes, no, or abstain. Could be viewed as, you didn't want to deal with that process. At the same time, it also is, I'm not sure, and it also shows the fact that each and every one of you might have a different opinion about it. I'm not sure how that would actually vote would go. And so one of the processes of making sure that you abstain is, I don't know if that's a process that we want to do. Some people would view that as, well, that's not part of your charge. Well, the reality is sometimes it is. Sometimes it is part of your charge. So my comment to you about this is, I appreciate the decisions that you make, whether it's about that or any other hard decision. Politics, left, right, or in the middle, have brought itself to the doorstep of schools. Right? We didn't go ask for that. It brought itself here. And we've tried to figure out ways to solve that problem. and really just focus on our kids and the education of our kids, right? We know it exists. We know that it's there. But I think that sometimes those conversations are really hard. It doesn't mean that you guys that you guys avoid those. You don't. I know for a fact, each and every one of you have called me and said, I'm not happy about this. I'm interested in this, right? But the decision about that is how do you take good care of the kids in the process? I think part of that process was that. I think we thought about how do I direct that to our kids and our community and our process. That said, right, one was right in some way, right? Sometimes those are the conversations we probably just need to have. They don't happen very often, and I believe in all five of you that we can make it. So that's just my comment, and I'll take my chair and take my shot. And I don't do that very often, so let me say thanks.
I want to just add to that a little bit. I'm trying to remember this because we are not a board that is afraid to say how we feel up here about subjects when it pertains to our district and our kids. When we were talking about this in November, I was under the impression that we had to vote as a group if we wanted to cast this vote forward, and it had nothing to do with our district kids. Well, whether that's wrong or right, but that's kind of why I thought we passed it along too.
Right.
Because it was not pertaining to something that we were dealing with in our district.
It is something that the School Boards Association was hoping to get an answer from.
Right.
And the choice, yes. And I actually talked to folks at Oregon School Boards about it, and they really said you do have three choices. You can agree, you can disagree, you can stay.
Yeah. I think if it came to our district and our kid and policies or things that were wrong, I don't think that this board would back down and stop speaking about it at all. I think that when that time came, there's a lot of tired people out there, and if we were really going to practice things, we would all have different opinions about things, and I don't know that we would have come up with a vote, yes or no, to move forward for this group. So,
John,
I just wanted to say that I do not want to try to avoid all those corrections of us. I want to accept it. So thank you for that. Another reason to abstain, and the reason that I wanted to abstain, was that I wanted to send the message to OSBA, don't send us stuff and expect us to sign off, because our vote counts. I want, when I vote for something, I want to be able to own my vote. I want it to mean something. Don't send me something as limited as what I got from them and ask me to throw the weight of my community. I'm speaking for my community.
Sure.
To throw the weight of my community behind that idea when it is so poorly understood and so poorly explained.
Right.
Don't expect us to give you the benefit of our credibility, our vote. And I didn't communicate that as well as I could have.
Appreciate it. And, Ola, I appreciate you coming and bringing it, not only as a community member, but as somebody that works here. Consideration. I appreciate you doing it. Big respect. I've got nothing else. We've got nothing for February. My evaluation of that.
Anything else on the board? No? All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.